Week 8, Brant, is here. We have football on tap again today. It's going to be another good week of football. We have no bye weeks this week. Got a full slate of football. We've got some really tight spreads that we're going to talk about at some point, Brant. A lot of good contests, a lot of divisional matchups. There's a lot going on this weekend, a lot to unpack. Should be a really, really good weekend for fantasy football, Brant. You know, we've got our underdog plays on tap. We've got our touchdown scorers on tap. Of course, we're coming at you with the menu of the week at some point. And again, like I said, Brant, it's week 8. It used to be back in the day, we were at the halfway point of the season for a lot of teams that hadn't had their bye weeks yet, but we're not because we have that 17th game that everybody gets to play nowadays. But Brant, it's week 8. We're here. How you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling real good. It was a shock as I went through my lineups and everything to set it up. I'm not used to having a bye apocalypse followed by a no bye weeks. It was kind of crazy to look at. But yeah, this week's shaping up like you said. There's a lot of close games on tap this week. There's a few games that are a little lopsided, but well, this year we saw Arizona beat Dallas when it was like a 10.5-point spread. We've seen a few other games that have happened like that. So it's an exciting week of football this week. I'm excited to get into it.
Absolutely. A little precursor just to put it out there for you guys in case either one of us start hacking up the lungs. There are some viral cold stuff going around the central Midwest where we reside. We'll try to battle through it for you guys, but just in case we start hacking up a lung, we don't want anybody getting concerned. So, all right, Brant, here we go. We've got some comments rolling in. Let's jump into this with Amy. She says, good morning. First of all, good morning, Amy. She said, lots of questions this morning, all point per reception questions. First one, pick 2, Nico Collins, Josh Downs, Calvin Ridley, or Zay Flowers.
Man, I'm going with the first one. I'll go with Zay Flowers. He's one of my guys. I'm locking into my flex and I'm leaving him there. I just think that his upside and his volume and his he's too electric to pull out. Man, Downs has been so good with Minshew, but they're playing that Saints secondary. Ridley's due for a bounce back, but can you trust it? I think I'm going to go with Nico and Zay. I don't trust the bounce back on Ridley quite yet. I actually think Pittsburgh puts a lot more pressure on Jacksonville than a lot of people are expecting. Think about it. Pittsburgh's 4-2. How many people actually realize Pittsburgh's defense has kept them at 4-2 because the offense hasn't done a whole lot?
Yeah, first of all, I'm in agreement on Nico Collins, Brant. The Texans coming off of a bye week playing the Carolina Panthers. I like CJ Stroud a lot this week, so therefore I like Nico Collins. The Texans also get Tank Dell back this week, which should help with spreading the coverage out a little bit there as well. So Nico Collins is a must start for me. Then you go to these other contests. You've got the Saints against the Colts. I expect Pittman to get the number 1 coverage from the Saints. Ridley against the Steelers, like you just alluded to, Brant. I think I go Zay Flowers, but I'm nervous about it just due to the simple fact that game could get lopsided really quick. But I think we're in agreement here. Number 2, she says I can play 1 at wide receiver and 1 at flex. DJ Moore, Darrell Henderson, Drake London, Josh Downs, Rashee Rice, and Tank Dell. Brant, which 2 do you like there?
I think you got to go with London. Excuse me. London's been very consistent the last couple weeks. I absolutely like him and moving forward. The Atlanta offense is starting to figure it all out. 1 at wide receiver and 1 at wide flex. So I gave you a flex. And Henderson looked good on his first week back. How much do I trust that?
Against the Cowboys defense, too.
Yeah. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with Downs. I'm going to go with Downs against New Orleans. I like this kid coming out of college, and I absolutely love what he's doing with Minshew Mania. Give me Downs and give me London. I can't go with DJ Moore at all. I can't do it.
London's not coming out of my lineup right now, just due to the simple fact that he has been Ritter's go-to. He's got a target share in the offense again. The offense is starting to air the ball out a little bit. He doesn't come out of my lineup. Drake London's for sure. And then I actually think I go Rashee Rice. That target share is starting to get pretty lucrative there for him with Patrick Mahomes. The Kansas City offense shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon, and Rashee Rice is really starting to come into his own there. So I like Rashee Rice as well.
Yeah, I absolutely.
It's number 3. Okay.
I do like Rice this week as well.
Question 3, it says pick 3. Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Josh Palmer, Romeo Dobbs. Who do you leave out of that equation, Brant?
I think I leave DJ Moore out. What was it? Baggett? Is that how you say his last name? He showed that he's very competent. He's able to run the offense, but he's not looking to take any deep shots. He's not going to take any chances. And obviously, DJ Moore is going to see the bulk of the coverage. So I just don't know what's going to be there for DJ Moore outside of small little screen routes. The rest of them, they get their normal quarterbacks, the normal offensive runs. I think I have to leave DJ Moore out.
All right, Brant. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and leave Joshua Palmer out here. Bears on the other end of the ball are going to have to put points up to try to keep up with the Justin Herbert Chargers. Eckler's healthy. Gerald Everett's starting to come into his own a little bit. Obviously, Keenan Allen's always going to be the one there. So I think I'm a little nervous about Joshua Palmer in this game, where it could end up being a huge Austin Eckler game against the Bears on Sunday night. One of the worst Sunday night games we've had of the year so far, with the exception of the Giants-Cowboys game probably. And then question 4, she says, pick 3 again. Josh Downs, Romeo Dobbs, Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, Christian Watson, George Pickens.
Pickens ain't coming out. So I got Pickens, McLaurin. Green Bay has, I just looked at
the Minnesota Vikings.
Give me Watson in that matchup then. Give me Watson.
Yeah, I actually think I go with the last 3 names there. The Broncos playing from behind to keep up with the Chiefs. Give me Jerry Jeudy. Give me Christian Watson against the Vikings in a game where the Packers are going to have to put points on the board. And then George Pickens is earned the right to stay in that lineup full time, like Brant just alluded to. So I'm good at the last 3, Amy. Rocco says Brock Purdy or Trevor Lawrence, Brant.
I got to go with Lawrence. I think Lawrence is almost a set him and forget him guy. I know he's banged up with that brace. I know there's some rain there in Pittsburgh expected, but I think I have to stay with Lawrence. I know Purdy's been, very good, but I think I have to go with Lawrence.
Yeah, I think Purdy makes me a little nervous because I know Deebo Samuel. I think if Deebo's healthy, I think I lean Purdy, but again, he didn't clear concussion protocol till yesterday morning, so not a full week's worth of practice for him. No Deebo Samuel. I think I'm going to go with the quarterback that's got his full arsenal of weapons on him. I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence as well, Brant. Rocco comes back to us and says, who's playing in that Carolina backfield? Do you like Chuba Hubbard or Miles Sanders this week, Brant?
I love Hubbard. I think Hubbard's taking over that backfield. I think Sanders is taking a back seat. I know the snap share. Actually, I had it set up to talk about earlier this week. Schedules didn't line up perfect for us Fatboyz this week. But, yeah, I think I'm going with Hubbard there. I think he's taking over that backfield.
So, first of all, Rocco, I think I will say that I think this is going to be a committee moving forward until one of these guys, shoots up and takes off. But I think if I'm going for one of them to have a home run play, it's probably Chuba Hubbard. I think he's a little fresher, legs are a little younger at this point. I think Chuba Hubbard is the one I'd play if I had to play one of the 2 of them. John says Foreman, Roschon, Sutton, or Dobbs, pick 2 in PPR.
Except the Chargers, and the Chargers are pretty bad against the run, are they not?
I think they're pretty middle of the pack, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Let's pull that up real fast. Yep, right there in the middle. I think I go with Foreman. I want to go with Roschon so bad. I want Roschon Johnson to be the starter, but I think I go with Foreman. He showed that he's the guy right now, and this is Roschon's first week back. So give me Foreman. I could be completely off on this one. Roschon may take over the work, but give me Foreman.
Who's the other one you want? You got 2 of them in there.
Give me Sutton. I think they're going to have to throw to put up points in that game. Give me Sutton.
Yeah, it's Foreman and Sutton for me as well. Foreman for the same reason you alluded to, Brant, coming off a big week. Roschon coming back from injury. And then Sutton actually had the benefit of playing the Chiefs just recently, and he had a touchdown pass and a few receptions, and I think around 40 yards last go. So I'm completely content with Sutton there. For the second part of the question, do we want Love, Stafford, or Purdy at quarterback, Brant? Who do you like there?
Stafford. Yeah, I think I'd go with Stafford. I think he's a guy that you set in, and he does just fine. He's got all his weapons back. Give me Stafford.
Okay. I think I go Stafford as well here. I'm liking what Stafford's doing this year. He's kind of turned the clock back. Love's shown flashes and also shown a lot of inexperience this year. And again, Purdy, not much week practice on the week. I'm going to go with Stafford. Brian says George Pickens or Nico Collins. This is an interesting one here, Brant. I like both of these guys a lot this year.
I go with Pickens. I just feel like I said earlier, I think he's deserved the right to be in the lineup. Collins has done good, but he's still in a young offense. Well, I guess so is Pickens. Really, I guess they really have revamped that offense over the last couple of years. I think I go with Pickens though.
Oh, man, it's such a coin flip for me. And since Brent went Pickens, I'll go Collins just to kind of give the other side of the argument here. Collins has also earned that right to be in the lineup this year. Robert Woods and Tank Dell have also been okay. The run game's really been non-existent in Houston. But in a contest where it's C.J. Stroud versus Bryce Young, I think C.J. Stroud's going to go all out to show out this week. I think Nico Collins is in line for a big week this week. Tony says, good morning, guys. Love this show. 2 questions for you guys today. Number 1, PPR, Ingram in bad weather or Waller with hamstring injury? I'm gonna hit this one real quick. Brant Ingram is one of my favorite tight end plays of the week, so I'm going Evan Ingram here.
I love both these guys. Ingram's one of my favorite tight end plays. I should have listened to you a little sooner. Maybe I would have grabbed him in more drafts. Where I wait for tight ends. Ingram's one of my favorite guys to be playing this week. I was all in on the Waller train. Waller does have a great matchup this week against the Jets, but I think I have to go with Ingram. I even in bad weather, that's his go-to guy.
All right, and he says, number 2 question is Josh Downs or Metcalf, who didn't play last week, Brant?
Metcalf. As much as I love Downs, it's Metcalf.
It's DK for me as well. I do think it's going to be hard for Seattle to pass on the Browns offense this week, or defense, excuse me. They're not going to pass on the offense. I think it'll be hard for them to pass on the defense. I think you'll see a lot of Kenneth Walker this week, Brant. But I still think DK has touchdown equity that can't come out of my lineup. John says Deontay Johnson, Drake London, or Tank Dell.
I know we're both Johnson lovers, and that's one of our favorite plays, but I think I have to go with London here. He's been too consistent over the last couple of weeks. Like I said, Atlanta's trying to find their feet, and they're doing pretty well at it. I actually expect them to be very competitive in this game. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised to see – well, they're favorites now. They were dogs to start the week, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them win this game. Obviously, Vegas is starting to feel the same way I do. So London's my go-to here.
Yeah, I also think – London's the play. Just simple for me, Brant. It's as simple as this. George Pickens is coming on this year. Deontay Johnson's just getting back. This is only his 2nd week of playing. 2 weeks from now, this may be a lot tighter question in my opinion, but I think this week I've got to go with Drake London, who's been that guy this year for Atlanta after week 1. All right, Chris says, morning, guys. Needing some help at running back 1 and 2 in my flex. My options are Breece Hall, Raheem Mostert, Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, Josh Downs, George Pickens.
Okay, so we get to pick 3. I was reading the names and I missed where it said flex, and I said I gotta pick these guys for RB 1 and 2. It's Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker is my. Oh God, he's got Barkley in there too.
Just say those 2 names and add Barkley to it, Brant. You're right.
Yeah, that's got to be it. That's got to be the 1, 2, 3. Hall, Barkley, and Walker. Breece Hall is my favorite play this week. I absolutely love what he's gonna see against the Giants, and I expect him and Barkley to battle it out to see who the better one is. And I think Hall's going to show it out.
Chris, this is a really good lineup problem to have. Congratulations to you. If you've got to leave Josh Downs, George Pickens, and Raheem Mostert on your bench, you might be looking at doing some trades because that's some talent to leave on the bench.
So before you move on from this, I know we got some more questions waiting. I want to get this out here. I've been waiting for Breece Hall to come up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Cook as a healthy scratch this week due to the unhappiness there and the possibility of being traded. So you may be seeing Breece Hall go back into his full workload starting this week. I just want to put that out there. I expect Cook to probably really take a huge backseat now.
Okay. Jennifer says, morning, Nico or Michael Thomas in PPR, Brant?
How many points does Michael Thomas get in the first half? Because the first half's always Michael Thomas. The second half is always Chris Olave. I go with Nico. Give me Nico.
It's Nico Collins. Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that as well. Brian says, CJ Stroud or Kirk Cousins. So you've got the Texans against the Panthers, and you got the Vikings against the Packers, Brant.
Look, I'm going to go with Cousins because I always bash on him about prime time and everything else and not performing when the time's right. So I'm going to go with Cousins, which means, guys, he's probably going to be dog water this week.
Yeah, Cousins has been great this year. I'd go with Cousins as well. Stroud's really coming on as well. I think Stroud has a chance to finish up in the top 10 quarterbacks, but Kirk Cousins is already there right now. I go Kirk Cousins. Paul says, morning, guys. I got a dilemma. I got Kareem Hunt versus Seattle, though Ford is trying to play. Deontay Foreman against the Chargers, and if I play him, I feel too invested in Chicago. Chargers game with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, unless I swing Nico Collins in place of Moore at the flex. So there's a lot to unpack here. I'm just going to get the whole comment out. Dameon Pierce versus Carolina or Hubbard versus Houston, and Jahmyr Gibbs is his lock for his other running back. All right, Brant.
Yes.
Gibbs, first of all, are you starting Kareem? Are you starting Kareem Hunt against your Seahawks this week?
I always start running backs against Seattle. They're starting to look better, but I still can't go against it. Hunt knows how to get through it. So
I say this about you, Paul, being worried about having too much invested in that Chicago Chargers game. Unless I'm missing something or Vegas has changed the line here late since I've wrote these down, it's tied for the highest spread on the week. Should be a decent amount of scoring going on in that game. The only thing I worry about with Deontay Foreman is, do the Chargers get up too early, too often, to where it's a passing game in the second half for Chicago?
I think Chicago stays in it. Bag it. He doesn't take risk. He doesn't turn the ball over. He gives the defense a chance to rest. I think Chicago stays in this game.
Okay. Brant likes Chicago a little bit this week, so go Deontay Foreman then. And then as far as the last two there, I like Dameon Pierce against Carolina personally over Chuba against Houston. I know, Brant, you're really on the Chuba side of things.
This was a toss-up of backups, and yes, I do put that in the little quotations there, but I got to go Schubert over. Actually, no, I'm going to go with Pierce over versus Carolina, because Carolina is the new Houston against rushers, so I will go with Pierce there.
Okay. All right, Matt says, good morning, gentlemen. Two questions. First, pick the best two: Michael Pittman, Hollywood Brown, Devonta Smith, and Deontay Johnson.
Give me Devonta Smith. I expect a bounce back this week from him. And Pittman, Brown, or Johnson. I think Arizona has Baltimore, so I think I'm going to fade down. Give me Michael Pittman. That pass game's looked very good with Minshew, so give me Pittman and give me Smith there.
Okay, Brent. I'm going to go ahead and go with Devonta Smith as my lock-in as well. And then I'm going to go Deontay Johnson over Pittman on this one. I just think there's a chance that this is an Alec Pierce or Josh Downs week, just due to the fact that I think the Saints defense is going to take away Michael Pittman in that pass game. I like Hollywood Brown a lot as the season progresses. I think if Kyler Murray comes back, I think Hollywood Brown could be in for huge bounce back the second half, but for now I'm gonna avoid him. And then the second is it Pacheco and all that snow or Alexander Madison.
Give me Pacheco and all that snow, going against the worst rush defense in the NFL, giving up second most touchdowns to running backs. Give me Pacheco against Denver.
No argument here, Pacheco. Mark says need 2 and 0.5 PPR. Flowers, Devonta Smith, Chris Olave, or Drake London.
Mark, I hope this is a dynasty league. Give me London and give me Smith. Those are my two favorite plays this week.
Oh man. I'm gonna go with Devonta. Goodness gracious, Devonta Smith. Struggling with his name for all of a sudden here. Devonta Smith and Chris Olave here. I think these guys both have higher touchdown equity and upside than Drake London does. Drake London's just not finding the end zone a lot with Ritter right now. I'll go with Devonta Smith and Chris Olave. Matthew says full point PPR, Kareem Hunt or Darrell Henderson, Brant?
I'm going to go with Darrell Henderson. He looked too good coming off the couch. I expect him to be used heavily again. I know it is against Dallas, but we've watched Dallas get gouged the last couple of weeks by running backs. So give me Darrell Henderson.
Yeah. So for me, if Darrell Henderson's interesting. If Jerome Ford doesn't play, I go Kareem Hunt. If he does play, I go Darrell Henderson. I think that's the easiest way for me to rule one of these two guys out because I think both of these guys could be a coin flip. I don't expect either one of these guys to be super huge high ceiling plays. They should both be pretty safe guys. I don't know if either one of them are sexy this week. But if Jerome Ford doesn't play, I do like Kareem Hunt just a little bit more. John says Mike Thomas, Romeo Dobbs, or Christian Watson. Pick one in full point PPR, Brant.
I'm going with Watson. I think Green Bay is going to have to put up points to stick with Minnesota, so give me Watson.
Gosh, I'm one of the biggest Watson fangirls I know. I think I go Christian Watson as well. He's just got the highest ceiling in this out of these three. I think eventually the playbook's got to get open in Green Bay. They're a little conservative to start a lot of games. And then they start about the fourth quarter, they start opening it up. I think you see Christian Watson get some deep shots early this week. I like Christian Watson. Jennifer says pick one, DeMarcado, Kendrick Bourne, or Miles Sanders.
Also add Chuba. She's got that comment down there, a couple down.
Miami.
Give me Bourne. They're gonna have to throw to keep up. I know Ramsey's due to come back this week. Give me Bourne. I'm not gonna shy everyone off of him this week. Give me Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne, agreed. Cody says David Njoku or Cole Kmet, Brant.
I'm not playing Kmet if I don't have to. He didn't get it. I think he had one target last week with the rookie quarterback. Give me Njoku until I see a little bit more with that offense.
Yeah, it's Njoku for me as well. Brant's internal temperature over under 102 degrees. Right now it's under, Mike, but when the food starts getting closer to being cooked, it'll rise. His blood pressure will spike, causing an internal reaction. He will heat up when the food starts cooking. Maybe one of the better questions of the day. All right, Chris says he also has. I'm assuming that's Jamal Williams and Jeff Wilson for need to drop one for defense for a bye week next week. Would I be crazy for wanting to pick up the Atlanta defense for week 9, Brant?
Who do you guys play week 9?
I believe we play the Vikings.
I mean, you wouldn't be crazy. I'd like to see what else is on the wire.
Personally, I think the Atlanta defense, it's top 10 statistically against, one of the better teams against the run. However, they have hemorrhaged against the pass a little bit, and they give up big plays, which can ultimately always hurt you in fantasy. I think Atlanta's defense is certainly worth being picked up for week 10 against the Arizona Cardinals. However, I'm a little nervous about them against the Vikings. I would think there'd probably be a better option streaming wise for week 9 than the Falcons.
Yeah, I think you do. I agree with that. Okay, all my comments disappeared for a minute. I thought my computer was going nuts on me.
Patrick says, why wouldn't the Fatboyz take a guy named Chuba Hubbard? Well, this fat boy loved Chuba Hubbard in college, was way too high on him, and it hasn't come to fruition for me a whole lot yet. But yes, with a name like Chubb, the fat guys we get excited about stuff like that. You're right, Patrick.
With a name like Chuba, it's got to be good.
Jordan says, wide receiver in full point PPR league, Tank Dell, Kendrick Bourne, or risk it and wait for Josh Palmer.
I'm going Kendrick Bourne. I've shot everyone off him last week. He showed that he's one of the favorite targets there. They're going to have to put up points if they want to stick with Miami, because I expect Miami to come out in full force after last week. So give me Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, I also agree here, Brant. Kendrick Bourne's earned the right to be played. I think Tank Dell could be a fun play. I'm nervous about him just coming back this week. And then obviously Joshua Palmer, I kind of said earlier, I think he may have a slow week this week. So I think you go Kendrick Bourne. Speaking of Kendrick Bourne, Yusuf says, just traded for Kendrick Bourne yesterday. Would you play him over Deontay Johnson, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Garrett Wilson? So we'll start with that part. I'm going to answer this, I think, for both of us. No, I don't play him over any of those guys. You have a very good problem at wide receiver here, Yusuf.
Yeah, the only one I may make a little argument is Flowers, but it's not too much to. I think I'm putting him in and leaving him in.
And then he follows it up with another question on the tight end, Brant. Dalton Schultz or Jake Ferguson at tight end. Who do you like in that one? Before you decide here, Brant, I want to let you know the Rams are one of the worst teams against the tight end in the National Football League this year.
Yeah, so I think I have to go with Ferguson. Dallas going to have to move the ball, and actually the Rams have been very good in the second. I don't want to say very good. They've been very decent in the secondary. So yeah, I think I go with Ferguson.
I like Jake Ferguson a lot as well. Ivano says, good morning, gentlemen. Pick 2, Alexander Madison, Josh Downs, Darrell Henderson, or Devin Singletary, Brant.
Mine's Down and Henderson. I'm out on the Madison. I know he's had some good weeks, but he's had some dud weeks. I'm Downs and Henderson here.
I like Devin Singletary a lot. I really, really like Devin Singletary a lot. I've been on that. Oh, but I'm still on the Alexander Madison train harder than I want to be. I'm going Alexander Madison and Josh Downs.
I will say this is the week that Singletary takes over the backfield. If he outperforms Pierce, I think he is the number one going forward. If Pierce somehow goes back to his last year mid-season form, Singletary may take a huge backseat.
Okay, fair enough. Jennifer says, pick 2, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, Breece Hall, Jordan Addison, or Jacoby Myers.
Well, Jacoby's the easy sit out of those names. I never thought I'd be able to say that this year.
Is he?
Out of those names, yes.
Is he?
Oh, my God. I can only pick 2. This is like going to the buffet going, hey, I know this is an all-you-can-eat buffet, but you can only pick 2 things. That's what you have to eat the whole time. That's not fair. It's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
Breece Hall is my must start. I absolutely love him this week. So it has to be Hall. God, Addison looks so good last week. Is that secondary back for Green Bay yet? Or are they still banged up?
I think they're all playing this week, I believe.
All right, so maybe I'll fade him a little. Oh, I think I go with I'm going Waddle and Hall. And the only reason I'm picking Waddle is Tyreek has struggled to live up to Tyreek's standards against Bill Belichick in his career. He actually has not put up the greatest numbers against Belichick. So I think I go with Waddle and I think I go with Hall.
Personally, I cannot advocate sitting either of CeeDee Lamb or Jalen Waddle. I think they both have to be in your lineup. Because what if the Jets do Jets things, Brant? Because this is a franchise that has done some questionable things in the past. What if they give Dalvin Cook like just some beastly workload to try to show teams he's serviceable and try to trade him? I'm not saying I think that's going to happen. I don't know. Crazy things happen. I'm going CeeDee Lamb. I'm going Jalen Waddle. Jennifer, this may be one of the best problems I've ever had to answer before because that is stacked. I just can't advocate that Lamb and Waddle have a chance to go for huge points. Man, that's tough. I'd like to see what other people think in the comments of Jennifer's question here. So why don't you guys in the comment section drop down whether you like Lamb, Waddle, Breece Hall, Addison, or Myers. Who would you guys sit there for Jennifer? Sherman says Aaron Jones, Jacoby Myers, or Joshua Palmer for flex, Brant.
I got to go with Jacoby Myers. He's been too consistent. Aaron Jones is coming off injury. He didn't look the greatest last week. I go with Jacoby, though.
Yeah, I think it's Jacoby here as well. It's a Monday night play, so it gives you upside of having a puncher's chance going into the end of the week. He's been too good, like Brand alluded to. Aaron Jones is slow, and I don't expect Joshua Palmer to have too big of a week this week. Jay says, "Good morning, man. Start 3: George Pickens, DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave." Who do you leave out of this mess, Brant?
DJ Moore. I don't trust him with the rookie with Baggett in there. He's too conservative. I absolutely love what he's doing with Chicago. He's just too conservative for me to trust the number one wideout.
Yeah, I leave DJ Moore out as well. Usually when I pick on DJ Moore, he goes off. But he, like Brand alluded to, I don't trust what I've seen out as far as Tyson passing.
Normally, when you're picking on him, I'm all aboard that train. So this week we're both picking on him. So hopefully it works in our favor this week.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Whitman says Jacoby Myers versus Detroit or Nico Collins versus Carolina in full point PPR. Brant.
Jacoby again there. He's too consistent. They're going to have to hang points to stick with Detroit. I'm going with Jacoby.
All right.
I don't think he finds the end zone because he struggles to do that, but I think he still has like 15 targets.
This is really close for me. I like both of these guys a lot this week. However, Devontae Adams is the alpha in Vegas. Nico Collins is the alpha in Houston. I go Nico Collins here just because of that. Charlie says Brandon Ayuk or Tyler Lockett in the flex. Brant, I'm going to let you give us your full Seattle insight on this one.
God, he's going to have.
Bear in mind there is no Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, he's going to have to get rid of the ball so quick. I honestly, I'm going Ayuk because there is no Deebo, and I'm kind of fading Lockett because Lockett gets more targets in the backyard situation. Well, this week I think it's going to be quick slant routes, quick curl routes to DK, and I think it's going to be JSN over the middle and using all 97 tight ends that Seattle has on their roster because they're going to have to get that ball out quick in order to combat against Myles Garrett and that front five.
Okay. I go Brandon Ayuk just due to the fact that there's no Deebo Samuel this week. Ayuk should have plenty of targets coming his way. Chuck says, are we starting Rashee Rice or should I go with Calvin Ridley or Kendrick Bourne? This is another very, very fair question. I like all three of these options this week.
I really like Ridley to have a bounce back this week. So, but I picked on Kendrick Bourne and I absolutely love Rashee Rice. I'm going to stick with Rice. Give me Rice. He's been consistent there. The targets are going up. That offense is, well, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's the Kansas City Chiefs offense. So I think I'm going to go with Rice.
Yeah, I'm going with Rashee Rice as well, Chuck. I just his target share is going up, and anytime I can have a pass catcher who has a decent target share of Patrick Mahomes' offense, how do you not just jump all over that and salivate at it? Ridley's been a disappointment to this point. Kendrick Bourne's been a very pleasant surprise at this point. But Rashee Rice is really starting to come into his own as a rookie there in Kansas City. I don't think I take him out of my lineup right now. Amy says Trevor Lawrence or Matthew Stafford.
T-Law, he's not coming out of my lineup anytime soon. T-Law's been too good. He's using his legs to scramble when need be. His pass catchers are doing amazing. He's dumping off the ETN. Give me T-Law.
Yeah, I think the Steelers defense and the Cowboys defense here scare me a little bit for both of these guys. But I'm gonna pick the quarterback who has Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp to throw the ball to. So I'm gonna go with Matthew Stafford. He can get the ball into those guys' hands and let them kind of do the work for him. So I will go Matthew Stafford here. I gotta put this up on the board. Brian says, appreciate it, fellas. Let's go Falcons. I'm glad to see there's another very high IQ'd person in this chat this morning. Let's go Falcons.
All right, guys, I'm dropping my start sit question down at the bottom. If you'd like to help this fat boy out, I'm struggling. My start sit question will be down in the comment section here if you guys want to help me out.
Okay. Yusuf says, start Ramondre or Kareem Hunt as my running back 2 this week, Brant.
I think we're going to go back to what you alluded to earlier. 4 plays, I think I go with Stevenson. If Ford does not play, I'm going with Kareem Hunt. I think I'm going with the same logic that you had right there. So it all depends on Ford, and I think they do both play. Yes. Whoa. Well, Cleveland plays late game.
You got to go Ramondre Stevenson in that case, don't you?
Yeah, because I think Miami's a little more receptive to the run too, especially if they get Ramsey back. That's going to be a lot of people hesitant to pass.
Yeah, I go Ramondre Stevenson just due to the fact that if Jerome Ford is declared out prior to the start of the 1 o'clock slate, then absolutely it's Kareem Hunt. But because Zeke Elliott scares me with stealing touchdowns, otherwise I start Ramondre Stevenson. Josh says in half-point PPR, do you start Deontay Johnson or Roschon Johnson, Brant?
Deontay Johnson, PPR. I think he gets plenty of love. So yeah, I'm going to go with Johnson.
It's Johnson for me as well. Jesse says, Rice or London, are we concerned about the snow? And then he follows it up by asking, Bo, what do you make of Bijan? Start anyway. So first and foremost, Brant, where are you at on the Rice and London situation?
London. I'm starting London.
Too much target share, too much love from Ritter right now. It's got to be London. I agree. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and answer this part of it because he did ask me, but I think I speak for both of us. Bijan doesn't come out of my lineup. If there's a chance he's playing, he brings too much to the table. He's got to be in the lineup. I think last week was a head scratcher for a lot of us. There was, the headaches. Who knew what to make of those? But yeah, Bijan goes in the lineup without question for me. Rocco says, flex pick 1, Kendrick Bourne, KJ Osborne, or Chuba Hubbard. Brant, do you like any one of these 3 more than the other?
Give me Bourne. I think I like Bourne over him.
Yeah, I think Bourne. Brant, you and I have picked a lot of Kendrick Bourne this week after we only picked him once last week. I do like Kendrick. I can't not pick him. I think the Patriots are going to have to play from behind. Divisional matchup. They're going to try as hard as they can to keep pace with Miami this week. And strange things always tend to happen in divisional matchups. I'm going to take Kendrick Bourne. He's been too good for me to sit at this point. Kevin says Jonnu Smith or Dalton Schultz.
I want to say Schultz. It seems so easy to say Schultz, but Smith's been too involved. I still think I go with Schultz here.
Yeah, it's stupid to have Kyle Pitts on the roster and him not be the number 1 tight end for a team, but that's 100% the way it is for Atlanta. Jonnu Smith is kind of the guy. He's the ball mover. He's the guy that honestly Desmond Ridder looks his way a lot. So I do think I'd go Jonnu Smith. Yeah, it's Jonnu Smith. I didn't think I'd feel that way about him at all this year. But yeah, I'm starting him over Dalton Schultz at this point. Bill says, good call on Foreman last week. You think Mostert will be okay today?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. He's still the lead back. Wilson's getting worked in slowly. I think Mostert will be just fine this week.
Yeah, I also agree, Brant. I think Raheem Mostert's probably the guy to start in Miami. I do think you start to see Jeff Wilson get a little bit more involved starting this week. Mike McDaniel kind of came out and made the comment about how he has to get Jeff Wilson more involved. So I think that happens, but Raheem Mostert he's been too good to sit this year. He's a top 10 back right now, so he's got to be in your lineup. Terrell says, Romeo, Kendrick Bourne, or Calvin Ridley in standard scoring, Brant. Which one of these guys, in your opinion, has the best chance to find the end zone this week?
Give me Calvin Ridley. I think he's got the best chance to find the end zone this week. So give me Ridley.
I go Kendrick Bourne. I think Kendrick Bourne's got the best chance to put up yards, and I think he's got the best chance to find himself in the end zone. Again, it may be garbage time when that happens, but garbage time's great for fantasy, Brant. So I'm going to go ahead and take Kendrick Bourne here. Sherman says Darren Waller or Jake Ferguson at tight end. This one's tough for me.
God, I love Waller's matchup this week. But I don't think Tyrod's really looked his way too much. Give me Ferguson this week. I do like Waller's matchup, but I just don't think Tyrod's looked too much into Waller's direction. So, yeah, give me Ferguson.
I think Darren Waller did lead the team in targets last week with he may have led him in yards as well last week against with Tyrod Taylor under center. But I think I go Jake Ferguson as well. The Rams are pretty susceptible against the tight end. Ferguson's really kind of coming into his own this year as well. I think I go Jake Ferguson here. It's close, but it's Jake Ferguson for me.
He definitely has been looking Darren Waller's. I've been so disappointed with my call in the preseason that I kind of faded staring at that. He's definitely looked this way, but I still think I go with Ferguson.
He definitely has. Joe says Alexander Madison, Jerome Ford, Deontay Foreman, or Jalen Warren in PPR league, Brant.
Madison, Ford, Foreman, Warren. I go with Foreman here. Foreman's the guy until he's not the guy. He had a great week last week, so give me Foreman.
Yeah, I go Foreman as well. He had too good of a game last week. This is a game where, like you said, Brant, the Chargers defense isn't super great against the run, middle of the pack. This guy had 3 touchdowns last week. I don't expect him to do that again, but I expect him to be one of the focal points of that Bears offense. Jennifer says, playing Barkley, Kamara, and Puka. How do you feel about those 3, Brant? Any of those guys coming out of your lineup at any point right now?
Absolutely not. Kamara's one of my favorite starts. Who would have expected him to see double-digit targets right out the gate from coming back?
All right. Bill says Christian Kirk or Joe Mixon in the flex. Full point PPR, Brant.
Christian Kirk over Mixon. I'm the biggest Mixon believer and lover. And as you see down here in my comment, just a few away, I have the same thing where as of right now, he's on my bench. And I think I go with Kirk here.
I go Christian Kirk as well. Listen, it's been Trevor's guy. He got the bag a couple off seasons ago. I know they went out and traded for Calvin Ridley, but Christian Kirk's going to be there next year. Ridley may not be. I don't know. I like Christian Kirk a lot in this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. We all thought maybe he was a little overpaid when they went and got him, but they've definitely used him, and Trevor Lawrence is definitely comfortable with him. So I go Kirk. What are your thoughts on starting a kicker on the same team as your quarterback? Good or bad idea? Dale, I'll tell you to start this out. It's a great idea if it's one of these teams that puts up a lot of points. If you've got Justin Herbert as your quarterback, that's a great deal to stack your kicker. Maybe not so much if it's Baker Mayfield, right? So there's different levels to this question, but I think if you have a top 10 quarterback, you're probably pretty safe doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. And Baker's actually not a bad one either because they've struggled to finish in the red zone. But Baker's put up points. So, but I mean, if you have a quarterback that's hanging, 300 yards but can't get the ball in the end zone during the red zone, it's a great time to stack them. But if you have a quarterback that's top 10, top 5, yes, you're stacking them is perfectly fine.
All right, I'm going to answer this next person's kind of an idiot, but I'm going to answer the question anyway.
Well, I'm only an idiot because somebody just took away the 2 best players on who I play in this week in our Dynasty League.
Oh, are you against the? Okay, then I'm gonna start Myers and Mixon. Then who cares? Who cares if that's who you're playing? Who cares? You're asking questions about a league you've won. If you could sit all 4 of those guys and win this week.
Yes.
Addison says only for Bo, Ritter or Jesus for quarterback. # crown the best. Obviously, this is pretty significantly. I mean, it's an easy question. Ritter, Jesus would have nothing to do with the Atlanta Falcons. If Jesus came back and wanted to play football, he'd be signing for the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's got to be Ritter for me, right? No, Ritter's not the answer in Atlanta. I don't think he's got to settle down a little bit. I know, Addison, you're only asking because you've got that beautiful Desmond Ritter rookie card that you need to sell, so you need a big game from him. That's not happening today. 2 weeks from now, it's going to happen when I play Brant week 10 against the Arizona Cardinals. I have to start Desmond Ridder with no Patrick Mahomes. That's when you're going to be able to sell that card.
That's cool. I don't have a quarterback either.
Trevor says George Kittle or Darren Waller. George Kittle for me. With no Debo, it's got to be George Kittle. He's going into the lineup. He's a set it and forget it with no Debo Samuel.
Absolutely. It's when Debo's not there, he's definitely the beneficiary of it.
All right, Brant, we're going to take a quick break from these comments real quick. We're going to hit our underdog really quick, and then we will jump back into these comments and try to get these all rapid fire when we get back from the underdog. So here we go with underdog. All right, Brant, go ahead and take us through your underdog plays of the week. Go ahead and get us started here with what you're liking for this week.
Okay, I'm going to take Devontae Smith to go higher than 49.5 receiving yards. Washington's given up the second most receiving yards in the NFL this year. I expect them to be really blanket the coverage over to A.J. Brown and leaving Smith open in the middle of the field. And then I'm going with the little special that they have, little Halloween special with Michael Mayer to go higher than 21.5 total yards against Detroit. I know it's Monday night, but it's a little special that they're running to get you entered into a contest. So also Detroit's given up the third most yards to tight ends this year, and Jimmy G started looking Mayer's way quite a bit more. So I expect him to go over 21.5 yards. Breece Hall higher than 71.5 rushing yards. Like I said, I expect Cook to possibly be a healthy scratch this week. I expect this to be a heavy dose of Breece Hall. He's been the guy to really keep that offense clicking, and I expect them to lean on him. And then I'm reaching back into our favorite bag here, and I'm bringing it back out, and that's Adam Thielen over 6 receptions. Until this man decides I don't want to hit it, I'm going to keep riding it.
Yeah, Adam Thielen's about one of the safest bets every week because he just always, whatever the over, under, higher, lower is for his target receptions, he's going higher than that every single week. It could be 30 at this point, and I think I'm going to bet it just because he's done it so much for us this year. Adam Thielen's definitely one of the favorite picks, Brant. I've got Matthew Stafford higher than 22.5 completions. Again, anytime you give me a guy who's throwing the ball to two of the best wide receivers in football right now, in Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, I'm taking every chance on that I can get. Evan Ingram, who I said is one of my favorite tight end plays of the week, I've got him going higher than 45.5 receiving yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I think he's going to end up being Trevor Lawrence's guy this week. I love him to have that. And then on the other side of the ball in that same game, I like Deontay Johnson higher than 7 targets. I think he comes back and starts getting into his target share percentage that he had prior to his injury. I really look for him to have a great week. And then my favorite one of the week here, Brant, is Derek Carr to throw an interception against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts secondary has been susceptible. We saw that last week against the Browns. But they also ball hawk and end up getting a couple turnovers here and there. So I like Derek Carr to throw an interception this week. Again, I think he forces the ball into some situations that he shouldn't be, and his pass has been a little errant this year, if I do say so myself. So I like Derek Carr to throw an interception this week.
Okay.
All right, let's get back into these questions, try to get these all answered before we run out of time here, Brant. Starting with Chris, who says Raheem Mostert, Puka, or Josh Jacobs for the flex spot.
And last week was a Puka game. Can he redo it this week? I still go with Puka. He doesn't come out of my lineups. I'm sorry. I told you guys to take him out of your lineups once, and it was a decent week to say it, except for then he ended up having like a 62-yard bomb for a touchdown at the end of the game, and I'm like, oh, well, it looked good all the way up until that last play. Puka's a guy that's not coming out of my lineups.
Yeah, I think for me, Josh Jacobs is really enticing because he does play Monday night. Again, he does give you that puncher's chance going into Monday night, but you can't take Puka out of your lineup right now. He's too darn good, and he's earned that right to be in that lineup. And again, both the Brant and I have picked Matthew Stafford a lot this week, so we think there's a good chance he has a pretty good game. So I think you leave Puka in there. Kevin wanted to get in and let everybody know he also has a pretty high IQ. He also says go Falcons. So I had to give Kevin a quick shout out here just to let folks know that Kevin's pretty intelligent. So John says sit one Brandon Ayuk. So I'm going to sit Brandon Ayuk since there's no other people on this question, John. Actually, I don't want to sit Brandon Ayuk. So please go ahead and resend us that one so we can
give us the rest of that.
Yeah, because I can't imagine I want to sit Brandon Ayuk. So, John, if you're still here, go ahead and send us the rest of that question, buddy. Mark says, would you drop Jonnu Smith for Trey McBride or Michael Mayer for this week?
I would for Mayer. Like I said, Garoppolo started to look his way a little bit more. I know Jonnu's been involved, but Detroit, like I said, is third worst against the tight ends. So I think I would for Mayer this week. God,
that's
so good.
It's interesting that you would for Mayer because I sure would for McBride. Zach Ertz to the IR this week came out again. I think that Cardinals offense gets a lot better. If Kyler Murray is still on this team by Tuesday, I think Trey McBride's in for a big second half of the season. I think I would drop Jonnu Smith for McBride. Again, there's going to be no Zach Ertz this week, so I think McBride probably comes in and has a pretty good game. He's been fine all season anyway. So yeah, I think I would probably be okay dropping Jonnu Smith for McBride. I also like Mayer though, so I'd be okay with either one of them for me. All right, Brent, let's go through these touchdown scores. Who is finding pay dirt this week in your mind?
Isaiah Pacheco in the snow. I expect him to go off today. I expect him to be heavily involved in the run game and the pass game against Denver. They can't defend the running back to save their lives. We're starting to talk about them like we did about the Seattle defense last year. So give me Isaiah Pacheco to find the end zone.
Okay. My first one I'm going to go with here, Brent, is a guy that last week came out and had a lot of people really disappointed in his performance. He only had 3 yards rushing last week. That's Bijan Robinson with his migraine. This week, he finds the end zone. He's got 2 touchdowns on the season, Brant, no rushing touchdowns, which I think is absolutely ridiculous because of how good that running attack in Atlanta has been. This is Arthur Smith against his former team. He's coming out, going to put some points on the board this week. Bijan finds the end zone.
All right. I am going with the guy to find the end zone for the second time this year. And that is Chris Olave. He has not been able to find the end zone very much this year, although he is involved. He's over 50 yards in almost every game except for 2 this year. He's seen double-digit targets in every game except for 2 this year. I expect him to go well over the 50 yards and also find the end zone this week.
All right. So again, one of our favorite plays, Brant, that you and I both love. If he has over or goes higher than his 6 receptions, he's finding the end zone this week. That's Adam Thielen to score a touchdown this week.
Yeah. Which means, guys, get on Underdog, see what his fantasy is. His fantasy score points are as well. Add that up because you might be able to use that one as well. My other one is Darren Waller to find the end zone. The Jets have given up the most touchdowns to tight ends, and I expect Waller to find the end zone this week.
Okay. Brant, I've got my last 2 touchdown scorers are both plus money this week. I added these guys in there because I think it really helps things along to have a nice little hedge bet here. I've got Najee Harris finding the end zone against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. I think that Pittsburgh offense is starting to bounce back. I think teams are starting to have to respect that passing game a little bit with Kenny Pickett, George Pickens. That's looked really good. Now Deontay Johnson's back. I like Najee Harris if that Pittsburgh Steelers team finds the red zone this week for him to find the end zone.
Okay. Absolutely like that. I hope he does because I think I'm starting him this week. My last one that I have is JSN to find the end zone again for Seattle this week. I wanted to say Bobo, but I think DK's playing, so Bobo's snaps will come down. That and it would have given me a chance, say Bobo a few times. I'm going to keep saying Bobo. But no, I think JSN finds it. I think Geno has to get rid of that ball quick, fast, and in a hurry, and I think JSN is going to be the beneficiary of it.
Okay, perfect. My last one, this one was all because I believe in a little bit of coach speak at this point of the season. And the healthy running back the more healthy running back in that backfield was less healthy this week. I like Jeff Wilson Jr. to find the end zone. I think It's going to be a yin and a yang between him and Raheem Mostert, much in the way that Mostert and A-Chain kind of shared the workload when those two are both healthy. I think Raheem Mostert's still going to be the guy with more touches, but we've all seen that the one thing about this Miami offense is any one touch for a running back could result in a 60-yard touchdown. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. finds the end zone this week, Brant.
Okay.
All right, we've got about 5 minutes left. So as we wait for any potential questions to roll here, Brant, go ahead and take me through. What is your menu looking like this week? I know you're on the men. You've got some games you got to coach this afternoon. But what does the menu look like for you this week?
Well, due to the fact that I do have, we got and my team and coach got invited to a tournament this weekend. I won't be home till later, and we are going to do breakfast for dinner when I get home. But when we do breakfast for dinner here, we don't limit it to just a small little spread. Now we're doing pancakes, we're doing French toast, we're doing sandwiches, we're doing eggs, bacon, sausage, everything, biscuits and gravy. That's the one thing I said. I said, I don't care what else y'all want to make. We're having biscuits and gravy this week. So we're going to go all out with a little breakfast. So I'll be a happy guy. I'll be a happy fat guy watching that Chicago Chargers game tonight.
Only because there's food in front of you. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot to be excited about. I'm going to watch the game because I'm a glutton for punishment. This is going to be one of those games that ends up being a lot less scoring than it should be. But yeah, for me, Brant, we are also busy in my household this week. My girls and my wife are associated with a cheer program here in town. And we're having the end of the year banquet. It's really unfortunate. My wife's the boss of this program. She's in charge of the program, and she does me dirty by scheduling her end of the year party from 12 to 3, knowing I've got two little girls on the team. I can't say no. So we get to go to a cheer banquet from 12 to 3 when my Falcons are playing. Thank God for NFL Sunday ticket and a cell phone. But we're having pulled pork sandwiches, baked potatoes, salads for those who eat that crap at that. And then we're going to come home, and I think we're doing some kind of pizza. I've got like a fully stuffed DiGiorno pizza that I'm kind of excited about. So that may take place for me when we get home. I'll see. I may also throw a fit and say I want food out. Since I had to miss my Falcons game, miss my Falcons game. I'll be watching it on the smallest screen all year, hopefully. But yeah, not a good week. Not a good week for the Fatboyz to watch football here. Vincente says TJ Hawkinson or Evan Ingram, Brant.
This one's tough. That's the two great tight ends. I think I go with Hawkinson, though. He's been too consistent. As much as I've never been really on that train, he's been so good lately. I have to go with Hawkinson.
Yeah, I think I also go TJ Hawkinson here. I know I said Evan Ingram is one of my favorite plays of the week, but TJ Hawkinson is the play of the week for me. I think if I was putting a DFS lineup together, he'd be the guy that I'd have in my lineup. No Justin Jefferson. Hawkinson's going to be peppered with targets as long as it's a point per reception league. Peppered with targets, peppered with yards, going to have a lot of looks in the red zone. And it's Packers Vikings. This could be one of the highest scoring games of the week. So I think you're okay to go ahead and start Hawkinson there. And then he follows it up with Kendrick Bourne, Evan Ingram, or Darrell Henderson for the flex spot, Brant.
I think the safest play in my mind, honestly, is Evan Ingram. He's been so consistent there in Jacksonville. If you want that boom play, you want that guy, I think it's Kendrick Bourne. But the safe play in my mind is Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I go Kendrick Bourne here. Again, he's been the number one in that Patriots offense. They're going to be playing from behind against Miami. I like Kendrick Bourne. James says, who would you bench? Austin Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, or Isaiah Pacheco? You've got to bench one, Brant. Who are you benching?
As much as I think he finds the end zone, I think I don't know. I want to say you bench Pacheco, but in my mind, you bench Gibbs. I know that's probably not everyone's favorites, but I'm benching Gibbs out of all that. Taylor's back in his role. Eckler is Eckler, and I think Pacheco goes off against that Denver defense in a cold weather game.
Yeah, I can't sit Gibbs without David Montgomery playing, so I do think you keep Gibbs in. So I think I'd have to sit Pacheco. The other two, I've never taken Eckler or Taylor out of my lineup if they're healthy. So I think I sit Pacheco, unfortunately. Alex says, why is the Atlanta defense getting so much love? Alex, I'll tell you really quick. The Atlanta defense is getting love because they don't give up plays to the running backs at all. They stifle every running back that comes to town. They've created some turnovers. They're starting to get some pressure. the fantasy wise, they're not necessarily the greatest option right now, but in real life football, Atlanta defense is the best it's been probably in the last 25 years. And that's why they're starting to get some love is just due to the fact that they've given up, I think, 1 rushing touchdown all season. So yeah, they're just really coming into their own. The defense is playing pretty well right now. And then to answer your next question, it's Bijan Robinson or Brian Robinson pretty heavily.
Oh yeah, Bijan definitely.
No YouTube questions, Dale asks. Well, Dale, you're on YouTube, and that was a question. So there's our YouTube question for the day. So yes, we are on YouTube every week as well, guys. So if you're not available to get on your Facebook, but you can get on YouTube, which I don't know how that would be a possibility. But if that's the case, yes, you can find us on YouTube as well, Dale. And then Vincente says, "Thank you guys, been watching and asking questions for the past couple of years. Love the detailed inputs. It'd be really easy for Brant and I to sit here and just answer with a player and not put any thought behind it and then say, oh, we got it wrong. We try to tell you guys why we feel a certain type of way. And usually the way we feel and the way we put it out there, we're doing in our leagues too. So, you're getting it straight from the heart from us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate the views. Appreciate the comments, guys. As always, every week, there's a start sit thread on Facebook on the Fantasy Holics. Go ahead and jump on over there if you have any other questions. We're out of here. As always, see you guys next week. Let me bring this up. Next week may be a little crazy for the Fatboyz. I myself am going to be flying out to Baltimore on Saturday for the Ravens and Seahawks game. I'm going to do my best to either pull up the start sits on my tablet, on my phone. I'm going to try to be here for Bo, maybe mess with it a few days this week, see if we can't get it going. But if not, Big Bo will be here to cover for both the Fatboyz.
Yep. We'll be here either way. One of us will be anyway. So, guys, that does it for us this week. As always, stay hungry
and stay fat, my friends.